Hello, everybody. I'm Richard going back to the podcast version. So, I'm going to this time. So, not I don't have to be concerned about how to say anyway. So, actually, there's a before actually telling you before actually telling you the topic of this episode. So let me tell you let me tell you one let me tell you about the vacation between April and May. So there's a long not so long but actually so the length of the vacation is a week. So there is a week long vacation. I don't know whether a week long vacation is a correct usage of English language, but actually so there is a week long vacation. And if this is not a correct expression as a English language, please somebody tell me in some manner. I don't know whether it's possible to I don't know whether it's possible to get in touch with listeners or not. But actually, maybe there is some manner for communicating each other. Anyway, so I have digressed in the track of this recording, but actually, so this not but actually, so this time what I'm going to talk about is the virus. What I'm going to talk about is the virus. So I'm going to tell you the topic or the title of this episode. The title is "Virus is always with you, and we are on the brinks of pandemics all the time." And the conclusion is so I'm going to, I often digress or so there are many digressions in my podcast or in the episodes of my podcast. So which is why so I'm going to pause or I'm going to tell you the conclusion of this episode. And I do this I I do this. And what I do is I tell you or tell the listeners I tell the listeners the conclusion of each episode before digressing, because I often digress it because I often digress. So which is why so I'm going to tell you the conclusion of this episode, and I have already digressed anyway. So I'm going to so the conclusion is anyway the conclusion is, even in my country, the fear of coronavirus has been over. However, as I told listeners in past episodes, there are going to happen pandemics in the future. So I'm anyway I'm going to tell you the conclusion and the title after not after the ending, just before the ending of this episode. So anyway, so maybe the pandemic has lasted in mainland China, and there is a lockdown. So this is according to the news in my country. And to start with, I live in Japan, and to start with, I I live in an advanced country in Asia, in East Asia, which is Japan. And there are some advanced Asian countries, and one of them is that famous South Korea. Maybe Republic of Korea is really famous nowadays thanks to BTS or Bangtan Sonyeondan. Anyway, and Singapore is another advanced country in East Asia, or maybe Singapore is Southeast Asian country. Singapore is a Southeast Asian country anyway. So, but this country is categorized into into the advanced groups all over the world. Anyway, so maybe there anyway lockdown. I was talking about the lockdown in mainland China, and so the a lockdown was a lockdown was done in Shanghai, which is that famous city in mainland China. Anyway, but actually, so with regards to this country, the pandemic has been over, at least so at least in the mood of people, or in the mood of the local people in this country, or in the atmosphere or in the emotional atmosphere, which is what I'm talking about. And in the emotion according to the, so not sampling, but actually So taking a look at the emotional atmosphere of the local people, the pandemic, maybe, not maybe, but the pandemic has been completely over, which is our feelings, or which is what the local people of this country feel. Anyway, but actually, so I think so. I think maybe I'm going to wear maybe I'm going to wear a surgical mask when going out tomorrow. And anyway, so I so anyway, I don't have particular plan for living away from my house. And anyway, but actually, people maybe I think people keep wearing surgical masks, or I think people people are going to wear surgical masks when going outside for maybe for the coming months, I think. And maybe I don't know I don't know when people are going to people are going to stop wearing surgical masks or face masks when going outside. But actually, maybe that custom of wearing face masks created by the pandemic is going to last for a long time, which is my speculation actually. Which is why, and this is what I have just told you is that it's just my speculation, or just my guesswork, which is why, so people may happen to stop wearing face masks or surgical masks. So such a thing may happen. So I can surely say when the local people of this country are going to stop wearing surgical masks or face masks. Anyway, so but thinking, so the mood that so according to the mood, or according to the emotional mood in this country, the pandemic has been over. But actually, there are many patients of coronavirus, and according to everyday report of the number of the patients of coronavirus. Did I say the number of coronavirus? There are countless numbers of coronavirus. But actually, there is still a everyday report reporting the number of the patients of coronavirus or COVID-19, and according to which there are still thousands of patients of coronavirus in Tokyo. And so nationwide, I don't know nationwide number. I don't know the nationwide number of the of the patients of coronavirus. But actually, maybe uh, maybe higher than 10,000, maybe higher than 10,000, maybe sometimes for this, sometimes was not sometimes, or on some day there are more than 40,000 patients in a day. I mean, so but actually, thinking about the mood of the local people, the pandemic has been over. But actually, here here is here I would like to tell here is what I'd like to tell you, or here is what I'd like you to know this time. And what I'd like you to know this time is that maybe another pandemic or other pandemics are going to come to us, or come to we human beings, or human, or mankind. Our pandemic or other pandemics, or another pandemic or other pandemics are going to come to human beings to tackle mankind, or attack mankind, or assault mankind, whatever you say, or you name it. Anyway, which is what I'd like you to know. So also this pandemic. So maybe in the case of Western advanced European countries and the United States of America, maybe the pandemic has already been over. Things come to Western European countries and the United States of America earlier than this country anyway. So and And of course, not of course, but actually, the provocation of the pandemic of coronavirus cropped up in East Asia, in the East Asia. But actually, the pandemic has ended. The pandemic has ended Western European advanced countries and the United States of America at the earliest, and earlier than this country. And the situation is stuff like that. So which is why, the most listeners, or how should I say, the frequent listeners of my podcast live in the United States of America. To start with, most of the frequent listeners of my podcast are American people. So thinking about which, maybe most of you, I think most of you have stopped wearing face masks or surgical masks. So, but actually, when I'm recording this episode, the local people, or we wear surgical masks or face masks when we go outside, which is a situation we are in. But actually, maybe I think someday people are going to stop wearing surgical masks or face masks for preventing not inspection, but how should I say, I forgot, infection. So for the prevention of infection, maybe people for now people wear surgical masks or face masks. But actually, I think people are going to stop wearing surgical masks or face masks, which is a situation we are in. So, but actually, I think as the pandemics are going to come, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So I'm not going to create I'm not going to create a long time of episode. Well, I'm not going to create an episode of taking many minutes or long time. So which is why I'm going to end this episode in this time, or in this phase, or in this part. So before actually ending this episode, let me tell you the conclusion and the title of this episode. The title is "Virus is always with you, and we are on the brinks of pandemics all the time." The conclusion is, even in my country, the fear of coronavirus has been over. However, as I told listeners in past episodes, there are going to happen pandemics in the future. So I forgot to tell you this. And please, to start with, please take a look at the description column of this episode. So I'm going to write the link, or I'm going to write the link leading to the past episode I was talking about in this episode. And in that past and in your past episode I was talking in your past episode I told the listeners that there are going to be frequent pandemics in the future, which is what I told in your past episode. And I'm going to, so what I told you is that I'm going to write the link of that past episode into the description column of this episode. So which is why, please take a look at the description column of this episode, which is what I'm asking you. So, and anyway, so that's it. So this episode is over here. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.